My name's Adriana, thank you guys for coming, and I'm delighted to be hosting Craig Calman tonight to discuss his book 100 Years of Brodies with Hal Roach. After first meeting Hal Roach as an undergraduate in 1973, his book 100 Years of Brodies with Hal Roach contains anecdotes of the author's friendship with the pioneer producer and presents a detailed overview of Roach's career, and we're very excited to be hearing about it tonight. So please welcome Craig Calman.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should take this opportunity to announce my candidacy for Dictator of Happiness. Now you see this hat, ladies and gentlemen, it represents the ultimate in Hollywood power. Do you see CAA is on that side or that side? I want to tell you, just like this Warner Brothers jacket, this classic Warner Brothers jacket, some executive, some well-placed human being at the pinnacle of the food chain, okay, lost this jacket in the gutter in front of a bar. I couldn't believe it. And the same with this CAA hat. It's a warning, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful how high you aim. You could fall, you could just fall. But bounce back, ladies and gentlemen, as Hal Roach did many times in his career. He survived Brodies, you know. Part of the title, Brodies. I mean, and I'll reveal to this faithful crowd, but don't spread the word. Because I want people to buy the book if they want to know what that word means. You know, I got to be practical. I mean, somebody has to be. Researching this book, going back over 100 years in our culture and American life, was a fascinating experience. Hal Roach lived it. You know, he came to Hollywood at the age of 20 after a very adventurous youth. And he had a cowboy outfit. He wanted to be a movie extra, cowboy extra. Start out that way, 1912. Yeah. Then he met Harold Lloyd, very talented actor, and they decided to make some comedies together. It was as simple as that. They got money men together. A lot of the history omits these money men and businessmen and gamblers to invest in some brand new industry, which it was at the time. When Hal Roach arrived, Cecil B. DeMille wasn't even here yet. You know what I mean? He wasn't even, it was 1914, end of 1913, everything started happening. Hal Roach got here a year earlier, a year and a half, almost 2 years earlier. But by 1914, Charlie Chaplin was here, Max Sennett was going wild, and Cecil B. DeMille released Hollywood's first feature film, The Squaw Man, using the barn they still have down there near the Hollywood Bowl. It's been restored after all these decades, which is more than I can say for Hal Roach's studio in Culver City, torn down in 1963 by an army tank. Yeah, it's a tragedy in Hollywood. And for a man who gave so much laughter to the world, to have his empire like that destroyed. But the man bounced back. He was, well, at that point, he was well satisfied with the incredible journey which I discovered reading the Hal Roach papers at USC. Fortunately, I think it was the head auctioneer saved boxes and boxes of business correspondence before the tanks knocked the whole studio buildings down. It was that dramatic. So they're at USC. Some were taken to a jail, a county jail for storage for a long time. They were all united at USC now, properly taken care of. So that was a great source of my research, the actual documents. Business letters, telegrams, as everything is happening, as they're trying to sell their first movies to keep solvent, you know. They finally found Pathé Exchange, you know, the French film company, the oldest film company in the world. They had offices in New York City. Those gentlemen bought Hal Roach's first comedies, 1915. That's when they finally Hal Roach incorporated his film studio, which was at an old mansion in Bunker Hill, LA, in the summer of 1914. So when I realized I was going to get an article I wrote about Hal Roach, a 75-page article that was going to be published with photos. And then I learned about the Hal Roach collection at USC. I said, well, I can't publish it without looking in these documents. That's what started this whole book. I mean, I was fascinated. I mean, everything came to life and it all fell together. USC has done a remarkable job of keeping letters chronological. So you can go, I started at the beginning, 1914, the first telegram, the first letter, you know, and trying to get these films sold and keep, you know, buck up your spirits, you know, you're doing a good job, we'll get it, we'll do it. You know, young entrepreneurs in a totally new industry. It was fascinating to read. And how it grew. I just kept, I said, look, I got to do this right. I have to go through this collection, you know, get a substantial, I didn't want to make a huge, you know, tome, but just keep it, tell the whole story in a concise way, but with a lot of cool details and quotes from the real documents. And I found great photos too. And Bear Manor Media is the publisher. They focus on old movie, television, radio, really old American culture, pop culture and whatnot also. So it's a cool little publishing group. They're still struggling apparently, but very cooperative to work with, and allowed me to design my own front and back covers, which I'm very pleased about. I had a lot of freedom to put this book together, and I learned a hell of a lot in my first book. I'm writing stage plays and screenplays for the last 40 years, focusing on that virtually exclusively. And then I write a book, and it's like, a friend said, you should have started writing books 30 years ago. I'll tell you, I'm not kidding. Writing a book is easier than writing a screenplay or a stage play. Yeah, that's what I can say after 40-some years of being very diligent with the arts. This is directly quoted from a 1931 publicity release to the Hal Roach Studios. Making two reel comedies is a serious business at the Hal Roach Studios. The studio is a well-organized factory of fun, not a merry madhouse. The laughter machinery runs with perfectly oiled smoothness and the precision of carefully timed production. The comedians, at whose antics the whole world laughs, move about their business with the dignity and decorum of men in any profession. Their buffoonery, their slapstick clowning, is confined solely to the hours they spend before the cameras and microphones. Away from the stages, they drop their masks and become themselves. Keen-minded businessmen whose job it is to make the world laugh. That job itself is enough to make anyone think seriously. Being funny is the hardest work in the world. Even the great Henry Ford, disciple of efficiency, might learn a lesson or two from the precision and machine-like operation of Hal Roach's Culver City Mirth Factory. Sorry, Mr. Roach.